Now available in paperback and Kindle Unlimited, Isis, Imitation of Life. The Goddess Next Door helps a young black girl overcome racism during the era of Jim Crow in this Golden Age Isis series adventure. Get Isis, Imitation of Life in paperback and Kindle Unlimited today. I got a chance to take a look at the second trailer for Marvel Studios' Captain Marvel last night, and after reviewing that second trailer, I can honestly say that this movie is going to be one of the worst films of 2019, and Kevin Feige better start getting worried because this film may cost him his job running Marvel Studios. When I look at Captain Marvel, I don't see a film on the level of the Marvel Studios standard that was established back in 2008 with Iron Man that stayed true to the spirit of Marvel Comics. No, what I see with Captain Marvel is a complete decline in quality at Marvel Studios to the point where instead of them producing action-packed films that stay true to the spirit of the Marvel characters that they were based on, instead we're getting these bland, generic films that literally are like cookie cutter coming off a conveyor belt. Because when I look at Captain Marvel, I don't see something distinct and unique. It's related cinematically. What I see is a bland, generic film with generic story, cut and pasted special effects, and uninspired visuals. And nothing in that trailer gives anyone a reason to go out and get excited for this film. I remember a couple of years ago when Captain America Civil War's trailer dropped, the first thing I did was get excited when I started to see the action in that trailer, and I got even more excited when I saw Spider-Man coming up on the screen, and Black Panther was just icing on a cake. But with Captain Marvel, I don't see anything in this film that excites me. I see a company that has gotten comfortable, a company that has gotten complacent, and people who just don't care about their jobs anymore. Because everything in that Captain Marvel trailer literally gives us a very bland and predictable story, something that I saw way back in 1984 with Starman. That's basically what Captain Marvel is. It's Starman, but with a woman in the lead, and a woman who really just can't play the part. Brie Larson is like a piece of cardboard on screen. She has no screen presence. She has no charisma. She has no energy. And she literally looks dead on screen. When you look at Brie Larson, she sucks the energy out of the film, and compile this with the very bland visuals, the very generic special effects, and the predictable action, and you don't have an exciting movie that is designed to pick up on the momentum of the very bland Avengers Infinity War. And that's why I say Kevin Feige's job is in serious trouble, because when I look at this film and I look at Infinity War, which was very bland and generic, I see a really bad pattern for Marvel Studios. Because when I look at both of Infinity War and then I look at Captain Marvel, it's clear to me that Marvel Studios is lost something. I mean, I saw it with Spider-Man Homecoming. I really started to see it there, and there's something missing. There's that spark, that energy, that heart that used to be a part of Marvel Studios films. That's pretty much gone, and we can see that with Captain Marvel, who was supposed to be the big savior for Avengers 4. I don't see anything that gives me a reason to go see Avengers 4 from this Captain Marvel trailer. This Captain Marvel trailer just looks like a generic by-the-numbers movie about this woman who was taken into outer space, had her memory erased, and then comes crashing back to Earth, and now these aliens are after her, and now she's got to try to figure out who she is before whatever big climax comes in the final act of the film. And again, that's something I have seen before, And that's just not something that meets the standard for Marvel Studios that was established back in 2008 with Iron Man. Iron Man raised the bar for superhero films, and Captain Marvel sends that bar crashing right down into the ground, right next to the bar where DC films used to lie. The way I'm looking at it now, DC is starting to get itself together. Warner Brothers is starting to realize the mistakes they made. And when I look at Aquaman, Aquaman is a far superior film to this Captain Marvel. When I look at Aquaman, that film, that trailer, it makes you want to go see the movie. It's fun, it's exciting, there's lots of action. It looks like a comic book come to life. And when I look at Shazam's trailer, it looks like a fun movie with a lot of laughs. And it really looks like it's staying somewhat true to the spirit of who Billy Batson is and the big red cheese being a big red cheese. It looks like DC is starting to get itself together, but at this point, Marvel looks like it's starting to fall apart. And they look like they have really lost their way because Kevin Feige, as I see it, has gotten too comfortable. And he's letting stuff get by him because if you look at this Captain Marvel trailer, this is just an unacceptable film to present to people based on the high standard of Marvel Studios. It just isn't up to par as related to the other films in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and the quality has been declining for a while now. And I look at this film, I just see a bunch of people who have gotten too comfortable behind the scenes and in the executive offices, and they're just signing off on anything, not thinking about the level of quality. Because if this is the film that is supposed to be the penny ultimate to the climax of Infinity War, Captain Marvel isn't going to be a savior. She is going to be the biggest disappointment next to The Last Jedi. And that's what Avengers 4 is looking like to me at this point. It's looking more like a Last Jedi, and Captain Marvel is The Force Awakens. And it looks like to me Disney has literally derailed the Marvel Cinematic Universe in its attempts to give us bland, pasteurized, homogenized entertainment that is just palpable for people instead of giving us really solid, high-quality storytelling. With Captain Marvel, Marvel Studios wanted to make a film featuring its first heroine, but the sad part with Captain Marvel is they just didn't give us a hero we could care about. They were more about pushing identity politics and saying what makes her a hero instead of just letting her be a hero on screen the same way Wonder Woman was a hero on screen. You didn't see Wonder Woman talking about how it's about her being a hero. It was all about Diana going out here and just being a hero, just being interesting, just being compelling. And Gal Gadot did an amazing job portraying Wonder Woman because she just had that enthusiasm, she had that energy, she had that passion. And when she came on screen, she had a great screen presence. With Brie Larson, I feel like I'm looking at a cardboard cutout taped with a cell phone taped to it, and it looks like she's just phoning in a performance and just doesn't care about anything. The entire film, everything just looks absolutely awful. I mean, I listened to the first scene with the dialogue, and it was just the dialogue was cringeworthy as well as listening to it, because as a screenwriter, I would usually read my own dialogue out to make sure it sounded like something someone would say. And when I look at most of the dialogue in this Captain Marvel, it's cringeworthy when I heard Brie Larson talking as Captain Marvel. She has no personality, she has no voice, she has no soul, and this movie has no soul in the trailer. It just looks like a whole bunch of dead space. And if you present people with dead space, what they do is say they're not going to spend money on this film. And I saw nothing in that trailer that gives you a reason to spend money on a Captain Marvel ticket. When I look at Captain Marvel, it reminds me a lot of 2004's Catwoman with Halle Berry, another film which they tried to create this strong heroine, but when they made that story, they made no efforts to stay true to the source material of Selina Kyle, and because you had an inexperienced director Patoff making this film, the whole thing was a complete disaster. And I believe that Captain Marvel is going to be Marvel Studios' biggest flop in 2019, and it's going to derail all the momentum for Avengers 4, because Avengers 4 is based on Captain Marvel's as the springboard for the big climax and conclusion of the Marvel Cinematic Universe in its current form. And if this is the person who's supposed to be the flagship character of Marvel Studios Onward, I don't think we're going to have a Marvel Studios Onward, because Brie Larson just does not have the charisma of a Robert Downey Jr. She just does not have the passion of a Robert Downey Jr. And she's just not strong enough to be the lead character for the Marvel Cinematic Universe. If they keep Captain Marvel on as the lead for the Marvel Cinematic Universe, we're not going to have a Marvel Cinematic Universe after Avengers 4. Because when I look at this Captain Marvel movie, this is just one of the worst films Marvel Studios has ever produced. It is the equivalent of Solo, a Star Wars story. It is the equivalent of The Force Awakens. And it is shown that Disney has completely destroyed the successful platform that was created back in 2008 by Paramount Studios when they laid the foundation for the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And they have literally destroyed the whole Marvel Cinematic Universe, because under Disney's mismanagement, instead of them trying to recruit people like Chio Hodari Coker and the showrunners for Daredevil, they decide they're going to go stick with the people who make messes like Captain Marvel, and they're making a complete mess of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. There was an incredibly successful story model and business model that was laid down in Luke Cage Season 2 and Daredevil Season 2. Not Daredevil Season 2, Season 3, that laid a really solid platform for storytelling, one that could have led to a superhero film getting its first Oscar, because when I look at the writing on Luke Cage, when I look at the writing on Daredevil Season 3, and I look at the characterizations, I saw characters who were far more compelling than Thanos in Infinity War and the Skrulls in Captain Marvel, or Captain Marvel herself. I saw more heroics in the Netflix series, but Disney decides to cancel the Netflix series so they can continue to give us uninspired, flat, boring characters in films like this Captain Marvel. This Captain Marvel is supposed to be the future of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Then again, I say that there will not be a Marvel Cinematic Universe after Avengers 4, and Kevin Feige better start submitting his resumes, because once this film drops, people like Bob Iger are going to start looking at him and telling him where the door is. If you'd like to see me make more videos like this, you can donate to my Patreon by clicking the link in the description box. And if you want to try some of my SJS Direct titles featuring strong heroines like the ISIS series, the E-Steam series, and the Spinsterella trilogy, you may do so by clicking the link to Amazon.com. That's all I have to say for this video. You can comment, rate, and subscribe.